Hi, my name is Ray, and I've been doing art hack videos since 2016. And at this point, I have tested pretty much every type of art hack under the sun. We're talking good ones. All around, I would say this worked out beautifully. We're talking not so good ones. Oh, it's working. Oh, it's working. And ones that I don't even know why they're called art hacks, to be honest with you, because they don't help at all. Here we go. And out of all the hundreds, maybe even thousands of art hacks and tips and techniques that I've tried, today I am going to show you guys the creme de la creme of art hacks. These are art hacks that I actually use. These are actually helpful and fit into the technical definition of a life hack, as in a technique that is designed to make your life easier. If you've been following me for a while, some of these art hacks you might have seen a million times on my channel because they're just that good. And some of these other art hacks are completely brand new, life-changing, the moment.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same.
And to make this video even more helpful, I encourage literally every single person watching this, if you know an art hack, no matter how big, no matter how small, put that bad boy down in the comment section below. Let's make this whole entire comment section, this whole entire video, like nothing but useful art advice. I want every type of artist to be able to find something useful out of this video. And of course, not to be too shy about it, I always get shy asking, but if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And without further ado, here are my art hacks. All right, so for this very first art hack, we're gonna talk about a technique that I have used so much on my channel. It helps save time, it helps you create muscle memory, it just all around, it's life-changing. And this, of course, is the chalk method. Now, let's say you have a photograph, you have a drawing, and you want to transfer it onto a new piece of paper. What you're gonna do is get your photograph that you printed out or your drawing that you made, and you're gonna get yourself some chalk pastel. Any kind of chalk will work. And all you do is rub chalk all around the back of your photograph or your drawing. And once it's completely covered in chalk, what you're gonna do is flip it back around, and you're gonna directly trace the outline of your photograph and get down your proportions or whatever you're trying to work on. And once you're done following the lines, bada bing, bada boom, there you go. You transferred your outline onto a new piece of paper. Now for this next art hack, this is one that I found, I think it was last year when I found this video in like an art hack video I did. And by the way, for all of these art hacks, if I found them off TikTok or like from another YouTuber or whatever, I will credit them down in the comment section down below. But this art hack, my guy, I found it last year, I believe, and I have not been able to shut up about it. So usually really cheap acrylic paint. It's not necessarily the best. It can be transparent, it can be streaky, and just all around, it doesn't give you that saturation that you want out of paint. So the solution to that is cornstarch. Literally, all you do is get a little bit of cornstarch, you add it to your cheap acrylic paint. You don't want it too thin because it won't do anything. You don't want it too thick because then it'll kind of like flake off. You want kind of like a nice toothpaste texture. And just like that, it makes your paint look like a thick body, heavily opaque paint. I don't know what kind of otherworldly magic is inside of this cornstarch, but the difference that it makes with acrylic paint is night and day. For this next art hack, I get asked all the time about how I blend my oil paints, how I get them to be so smooth. And the answer to that, drum roll please, makeup brushes. Regular paint brushes, they're kind of rough. They add like a lot of weird scratches in your artwork. So what I do is I go in with a completely dry, fluffy makeup brush. And I just ever so lightly dust between the two oil colors, just like with the lightest little touch. And let me tell you, makeup brushes blend like no other art supply before. In fact, just to make my point even more clear, on the bad side of this demonstration, I ended up fixing it with a makeup brush just to show you how well it works even under like bad circumstances. For this next art hack, this is one that I had to end up teaching myself because at the time in college, I was too poor to do anything else. So whenever you're working on an art piece, especially if it's charcoal, which I love, your blending stumps can get very dirty very quickly. What I like to do is get my blending stump and just ever so lightly erase it directly over an eraser. It'll take off a mass majority of the junk on it. And for me personally, I keep repeating this entire process literally until that blending stump is like disintegrated and it's just like shreds of paper. This next art hack is gonna be dedicated to my super old school watchers. The hack is that water-based markers are basically free watercolors. So I believe it was back in 2017, I did the 1 marker art challenge. And what I did is I got just regular Crayola marker and I collected some of the ink inside of a palette, and literally all you do is just get some water, dilute it a little bit, and just like that, you've turned your markers into watercolor. I'd like to dedicate this next art hack to all of my digital artists out there. I feel like because you guys are all so chill, I feel like you guys always get left out of art hacks, but no, not today. I want to include you. Whenever you're doing digital art, you don't want your hand to rub all over the screen and get like whatever junk is on your hand onto your screen and basically interrupt your entire drawing process. You don't want that. So instead of spending $10 on a digital art glove, you can make your own for free. What you're gonna do is get the cheapest $1 felt glove that you can find. You cut it from the thumb all the way down to the second finger right here. And literally you're done. That's all the steps to this. And it works just like a regular glove. Except better because it was free. For this next art hack, this one goes out to all of my Dollar Tree lovers out there, which by the way, I am devastated by the fact that they raised their prices from $1 to now $1.25. Absolute chaos, straight to jail. I hate it. But anyway, if you have a dollar store near you, it's most likely that they sell either poster board or poster board sheets. And what people don't realize is that those sheets are actually really good quality art paper. What you're gonna do is get the paper, and it has a shiny side and a matte side. Flip it over to the matte side. I like to go in with some sandpaper and just lightly sand off the top layer just to create some like texture. That way your like art supplies will stick to the paper. And this technique is great if you're just trying to save on money or you just live in a really small town like I did that didn't have access to really nice high quality art paper. Again, for this art hack, this is another one that I had to figure out in college when I couldn't afford anything. In your sketchbook, if you make a drawing with charcoal or graphite, it gets all over the place. It gets on your hand, it gets on the other pages of the sketchbook, and just all around, it's a mess. So normally what you would use is a spray called Fixative? Or is it Fixive? I can't remember right off the bat. But basically, it's a spray that locks down the graphite and the charcoal on the page so it doesn't smear all over the place. But if you're in college and you're making tons of different sketches all the time, it can get expensive to do that. So in college, what we ended up doing was using hairspray. If you want to lock in your sketchbook in place, I'm telling you guys, hairspray is where it's at. This next art hack isn't necessarily an art hack per se. It's more or less a traditional painter's technique. I'm gonna show you 3 things. The first one is my makeup concealer. This is what it looks like on a white piece of paper. Do you see how dark it looks in comparison to the white? And if I put that exact same concealer on a black piece of paper, do you see how bright and white it looks in comparison? But if I was to put that exact same concealer on a gray neutral piece of paper, it's gonna look accurate to thine skin color. So that's why a lot of artists tone their canvas gray so they can accurately see what colors they're accurately working with. It seems like a really simple technique that doesn't seem that important, but trust me, it makes a world of a difference when it comes to painting. Now, I actually saw this next one on TikTok literally a couple of days before I started filming this video. Something that I didn't know, and there's a huge chance that maybe you didn't know, is that you can actually clean your kneaded erasers. I didn't know you could do that. I never thought to wash my eraser, but you can apparently. So all you're gonna do is get your dirty kneaded eraser, put some hand soap on it, and just lightly wash off all the dirty stuff. And for this hack, you gotta be careful not to like squish your kneaded eraser because then it's gonna get soap inside of the squishy stuff. So every time you rinse, you then squish it to bring out more of the dirty stuff, and just repeat the process until it's completely clean. This next tip is something that I feel so strongly about, I considered actually making an entire video on this one specific thing. And that is how to take pictures of your artwork correctly. And obviously someone like me, I have a professional setup where I can take pictures inside. But I would argue that you have one of the best lightings of all time. the sun. So immediately you can see a difference from when you take your pictures inside under a ceiling lamp versus the sun, which casts no shadows. It gives off a perfect neutral light and it accurately portrays your artwork. In fact, I know so many artists who sell their artwork professionally. A lot of them, they don't even use their professional setups. They go outside and take their pictures just because it is that accurate. Next up, we have an art hack that I wish I would have known sooner. If you have a paintbrush and it's full of dried acrylic, acetone removes the paint. Let your paintbrushes soak in acetone for a while, and eventually the paint just glides off. I'm actually kind of mad now, like how come I didn't know this? Now for this next art hack, this one I feel like might be kind of well known, but maybe not, but I just wanted to include it just in case it's not well known. And this can go for either water-based markers or alcohol-based markers. So whenever you have a marker and it's kind of dried out, or maybe it's not very smooth anymore and it's kind of like on its last leg, what you can do is get some alcohol. And all you do is literally just re-wet the tip of the marker, let the alcohol soak in a little bit, and you can use it way longer than you would have originally. Like, do you see the difference there? It's incredible. Miss Chloe Rose Art, if you're watching.
Hello there, how are you all doing?
Shout out to you because you're where I got this from. Sometimes painter tape just doesn't work like it's supposed to. Paint can get underneath it. Sometimes the tape messes up. It just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So what you're gonna do is either get a white clear gesso or a really cheap transparent white paint. And what you're gonna do is put that transparent paint down first, let it dry, and then go in with the color that you were gonna go in with. And I swear to God, when you use a primer first, it makes the painter's tape work 10 times better. And this is just a hack that I'm never not gonna do because it works so incredibly well. Now for this next art hack, this is one that I have been asked literally, I would say probably every single day since I started uploading on Art YouTube, and that is how I blend colored pencils. And the secret to blending colored pencils is a white colored pencil. I don't know what is inside the Prismacolor white colored pencil, but it blends any two color pencils that you want. And as much as I love the Caran d'Ache colored pencils, I still have to use a white Prismacolor even when I'm using those like $200 colored pencils because white Prismacolors just blend that well. Now for this next art hack, my secret is using whiteout on my drawings and paintings. So let's say that I am drawing an eyeball and I need to put a white highlight in the eye to make it look reflective. Well, instead of using colored pencils or a white pen, I use whiteout. And the reason I like whiteout is because it's oil-based, which means that it'll stick on top of literally anything you want. And not just that, but you can actually chip off whiteout.
It's like paint that's removable. It's incredible.
For this next art hack, this is another one that I did that went absolutely crazy viral. I think on my YouTube short channel, it got like, I can't even remember, like 10 million views or something like that. It's crazy. Basically, whenever you're coloring with a crayon, usually you get that weird blotchy crayon texture. You know what I'm talking about. But if you want it to look a little bit more smooth, what you can do is get your crayon, press kind of hard on the area that you want to color. You get either your fingernail, a coin, or in my case, one of those like pottery thingies, I don't know what they're called, and you just scrape off the extra wax off the paper. And let me tell you, whenever you do this, it leaves such a beautiful, smooth, fully saturated coloring page. It's crazy, like it doesn't even look like crayon anymore. Now for this next art hack, let's say you have a green color and it's too dark, but if you add white paint to it, then it turns it into like a weird pastel green, which you don't want. So instead of using white paint to lighten your artwork, what I'm gonna have you do is use neon paint. When you add neon paint, not only does it lighten it, but it keeps that original color. And it's just a good way to get a more accurate color to what you want. And lastly, this brings me to the final art hack. Whenever you're shading an artwork with a pen, no matter how small the fine liner is, it's still gonna be super duper dark. So my solution to that is literally a ballpoint pen. If you get a ballpoint pen and slightly turn it to the side and just like ever so slightly drag it across the page, I swear it gives the most beautiful light gray shading that you're ever gonna get. It's really nice for very subtle shadows. And I think it's because the ballpoint pen ink is full of filler and it's not like as intensely black as a fine liner pen. I don't know, it just works really good for shadows. Well, there you guys go. Those are all of my personal all-star art hacks. And if you want to see me test even more art hacks, I'll leave a playlist right here. If you haven't subscribed, please be sure to do that. Happy drawing, and I will see you guys next video. Bye!